the first mutiny, the first war for independence. That's why it became very important, because it was the first time the Indians revolted to get freedom. Many reasons are there for revolting. All types of people, all walks of life, people joined that. Farmers were there, peasants were there, lawyers were there, children were there, women were there, everybody was there. Kings were there, Nawabs were there, teachers were there, everybody was joined this movement. That's why it is called as the first war of independence. First war, although it failed due to many reasons, but still it shook the Britishers very much, and they were forced to bring the changes, some of the changes to make people happy, and to make that this revolt doesn't happen again. So we will read about that, what happened, why people rebelled, how it happened, and why it failed, but how it shook the base of the Britishers. So they have to make some reforms for the people of India so that they cannot revolt again. Because they were knowing that a second time revolt will be there, then we cannot stay here. We have to go. Now the last three chapters, that is trade, from trade to territory, ruling the countryside, how, where, and where. We look at the policies of the East India Company, what they were doing, taxes, how much taxes were there. They were forcing the farmers to grow indigo and crop which they needed, putting the restrictions, importing goods from here, raw material, bringing the goods here and selling it at high prices. How they removed the Nawabs through different policies like doctrine of lapse, subsidy alliance, this alliance, that alliance. Soldiers were not also happy. So all types of people were not happy with the policies of the British. So how all these things boiled up and became in the form of a revolt, we will read in this chapter. First of all, Nawabs. Although in higher class you will go, you will read that military causes, political causes, religious causes, social causes, different causes of this war, or mutiny of 1857 or first war of independence. But here they have not given like this, they have given the short form. That is Nawabs lose their power. First of all, Nawab. As you have read before, doctrine of lapse, subsidy alliance, or in the name of mismanagement, like Awadh. All types of policies are adapted to take the kingdom of the Nawabs. Then taxes were put, or like Sirajuddaula, that the taxes were not given to them. Took the permission for trade, but with which they have took the permission, they were not doing. So many things were there. In the mid 18th century, or mid 18th century, the Nawab Rajas seen that their power is going. Their power is going down, their power is eroding. And slowly they lost their authority as well as their honor. But they were not treated well. As you said, Bahadur Shah Zafar was put into jail. His sons were killed. So many things happened. So they said that the honor and authority is going down. Previous Rajas were put in their court to see what they are doing. After the battle of Buxar and other battles, the Rajas were put into their court to see what they are doing, and they were interfering in their affairs. So the freedom of the rulers were reduced. They cannot do their on their own because they were residents of the Britishers or representative Britishers in their court were interfering in their work. So they were not happy. Their honor, their authority, their power, and all have going down. Subsidy alliance. You may have read in their army was disbanded because they said the British will provide them that protection. If they need the protection, they don't need to keep the army. Give the money to the Britishers, they will provide you the army whenever they need it. So their army was also taken back, so they cannot fight with the Britishers. revenue, territory, all was taken away, and they were not very happy with the Britishers. So that was one of the reasons that why the Nawabs joined the revolt, because they were not happy with the work of the Britishers. Many families, ruling families, tried to talk with the Britishers. They said, no, we should talk, discuss, and solve this problem. So they tried to negotiate with the Britishers to protect their interest, like Rani Lakshmibai of Jhansi, who is in news nowadays very much. The Rani Lakshmibai name has suddenly came up and became very popular nowadays. Everybody is saying that I am 1 or 2%. One person is saying that I am Rani Lakshmibai, and people are also painting him as Rani Lakshmibai. Her. So Rani Lakshmibai said that I don't have my son, I have an adopted son. Please allow that adopted son as the heir of the kingdom. That after me he will become the king. But the British refused because doctrine of lapse was there. So they refused to recognize Rani Lakshmibai's son as their heir to the kingdom after the death of her husband. Nana Sahib, another leader who was the adopted son of Peshwa Bajirao II ruler, also pleaded with the British that his father's pension should be given to him when he died, Bajirao II, but they refused. They said, no, because you are an adopted son, you are not the legal heir. That's why you cannot get the pension of your father. And because the company was very much proud of their superiority and military power, turned down these places and no, nothing doing. Because under doctrine of lapse, adopted son cannot be the heir to his father. That's why he said to Lakshmibai, your son cannot become the king after the husband's death. And to Nana Sahib, they said the Peshwa Bajirao died, you are not his real son, you are your adopted son, that's under doctrine of lapse. You cannot get the pension of your father because you are not the legal heir. Awadh, as you have read before, one of the last territories to be taken in 1801. The subsidiary alliance was imposed on Awadh, and in 1856 it was taken over on the name of mismanagement, that is not doing the work for the public. He is busy in dance and songs. Governor General Dalhousie said that this territory is misgoverned. That's why we are taking the kingdom back to us to make the administration proper. So Awadh was the last of the kingdom taken in 1801. Subsidiary alliance was imposed, and 1856 it was taken completely under the control of the British. By saying that it is misgoverned, the Nawab is not taking care of his people. So we are taking this kingdom under subsidiary alliance, and we will see the administration should be proper there and people get the benefit. The company even began to plan to bring down the Mughal dynasty. Bahadur Shah Zafar was the last king. They were trying. They made provision that it should come down. First of all, the Mughal king name was removed from the coins, which was minted by the company, because effectively Bahadur Shah Zafar, the last Mughal king, was the ruler of India. Effectively, it was not taken over because India, he was the ruler. His name or his picture should be there on the coin. Whoever minted it. But the first step the British took was to remove the name of the Mughal king from the coins, which was minted by the company. In 1849, Governor General Dalhousie announced that after the death of Bahadur Shah Zafar, the family of the king will be shifted out of the Red Fort to some other place. They will not be allowed to live in the Red Fort now after the death of Bahadur Shah Zafar or after the removal of Bahadur Shah Zafar from the king. So the son or family will not remain in the Red Fort. They will be taken out from there and given another place in Delhi to reside in. In 1856, Governor General Canning decided that Bahadur Shah Zafar would be the last Mughal king, and after that their son will not become the king. So after his death, none of his descendants will be recognized as the king. They will just be called the princes. So like these Nawabs and kings were not happy with the policies of the British. Inside there was resentment, they were angry, but they cannot do anything. They have to sit quietly. But they got the opportunity in 1857 when the revolt started by Mangal Pandey. For that, you can see a movie of Amir Khan, Mangal Pandey, in which you can Amir or Shah Rukh, I don't know. Mangal Pandey, Amir Khan. I think. You can see that Mangal Pandey film of Amir Khan, and you know about this 1857 revolt, how it happened. Because he was the one in Meerut.
Sir, Mangal Pandey shot a sergeant, right?
Yeah. Now peasants and the sipais. The peasants were also not happy because of the revenue, high revenue. Under municipal system or Royatwari system or permanent settlement or other settlement. To the countryside and the villages, the peasants and the farmers or the zamindars were not happy with the high taxes and very harsh method of collecting the revenue. If you not give the revenue, the land was taken back. The land was taken. So many failed to pay back the loans, and as a result, lost their lands to the money lenders or to the which they have done, which they were doing the farming for generation on which it was taken because they were not able to pay back the loans. So they were also not happy. The zamindars were not happy. The farmers were not happy. Now Indian sipais, they were also not happy. They have the reasons to be discontent. First of all, their pay, allowances, and condition of services, they were not happy. What was the condition? Why they were not happy? And some of the new rules, moreover, violated their religious sensibility and beliefs also. Because in those days, you can call it superstition. In those days, it was a thing or a belief that if you cross the sea, if you go somewhere else crossing the sea, you will lose your religion. It was a superstition at that time. That if you go from your country to another country through sea, if you cross the sea, that means you are losing your religion caste. So sipais were not ready to go out. But when the World War was there, they asked. In 1824, the sipais were asked to go to Burma, now Myanmar, to fight the war for the British through sea route. These army men refused because they said we cannot go because we believe that if we cross the river or we cross the sea, we will lose our religion and caste. We don't want to go to lose our religion and caste. So they were refused. For that, they were severely punished, put into jail. Although they agreed that they can go by land, but they were severely punished. They said you have to go by sea only, and they were severely punished. And the issue was not dying. Resentment was there among the sipais. So in 1856, the company passed a new law which says that every person who took up employment in the company's army had to agree to go overseas if required. If the British army asks, if the British asks you to go to sea to other place to fight the war for them, you have to fight. You cannot refuse if you want to join the company army. Or if you have joined the company army, whatever the Britisher will say, you have to agree. Otherwise, strict action will be taken against you. So in 1856, they passed this law after this issue arose. Sipais were also not happy with what was happening near the countryside, near the village, because they were belonging to those villages. So they were knowing what is happening with their families. And many of them were peasants and had been living families in the villages. So they were knowing what is going on in villages also, with the peasants and farmers and their families. So anger of the peasants spread in Sipais also. So they were also not happy along with the peasants. Now another thing, the Britishers believed the Indian society had to be reformed because they were saying that they were in. We have read before also. They said that superstition is there. They are ignorant. They are backward. So they said society should be reformed. So laws were passed to stop the practice of sati and to encourage remarriage of widows. Although it was a very good step to ban sati and to widow remarriage because it was a social evil at that time. So they passed these laws, but the people were not happy. Especially the Orthodox Hindus. They said that it is an attack on our religion by banning sati and encouraging widow remarriage. Then English language education was actively promoted. That for that also people were not happy. That why they are imposing English. After 1830, the company allowed the Christian missionaries to function freely in its domain and even own land and property. They said the Christian missionary can own land, have the property in India. In 1850, a new law was passed to make conversion to Christianity easier. It said that those who want to convert to Christianity, they can do it easily. And the law allowed that Indians who converted to Christianity, they will inherit the property of their ancestors. If their ancestors are Hindus still, but if you turn into a Christianity, you will be eligible to get the property of your forefathers. Although your forefather may be Hindus, but still you will get that. But the many Indians felt that they are destroying their religion. They are trying to convert the Hindus into Christians. So resentment was there. And there were another Indians who wanted to change the practice like Raja Ram Mohan Rai, Jyotiba Phule, Dayanand Saraswati. Many were there who wanted that this practice should be stopped of sati and widow remarriage should be encouraged. They were in favor of that. That you will read in the chapter 7, reformers and reform movements. Now if you see it from the eyes of the people, what the people of those days thought about the British rule, you can read the source 1 and 2, you will know what the people were thinking at that time. So the mutiny started. A mutiny became a popular rebellion. It was the first popular rebellion against the British, a full-fledged, in which every walks of life people joined. Peasants were there, Sipahis were there, Zamindars were there, Nawabs were there, kings were there, common people was there. Everybody had, because everybody was not happy with the British policies. All of them have been here and there have been affected by the policies of the British. So the struggle between rulers and ruled are not unusual because rulers are always fighting among each other. It is common. But sometimes this strategy became quite popular. So the power of the state breaks down. Because a very large number of people start belonging that the common enemy, here the common enemy of the British. So they rise up against the enemy at the same time. And that's why this mutiny can become a popular rebellion if all people join them. And this happened in 1857, such situation, where everybody was ready to fight. Only a small spark was needed. A small spark, and all of them jumped into this rebellion. Only one has to start. Everybody was ready to join. One person starts it and we will join it quickly. And that was Mangal Pandey who started that. That spark was only there and everybody jumped. Nawabs, kings, peasants, common people, Zamindars, lawyers. So the rebellion started from Meerut to Delhi. On 29 March 1857, a young soldier, Mangal Pandey, was hanged to death for attacking his officers in Barakpur. Some days later, some Sipahis of the regiment at Meerut refused to do the army day because there was a rifle in which cartridge to be put. Before cartridge to be put, it has to be bitten up by the mouth and put it into the rifle and shoot. So there was a rumor spread that this cartridge is greased by the cow, fat of the cow and the pig. So Muslims and Hindus thought that it is a deliberate work of the people of the British to get their religion destroyed. So they refused to use that rifle. But they were forcefully put to use that rifle. They were saying you have to use it. As a result, the revolt started. So some Sipahis of the regiment at Meerut refused to do the army drill using these cartridges, which was suspected of being coated with the fat of cows and pigs. The 85 Sipahis were dismissed from service and sentenced to death 10 years for jail for disobeying their officers. This happened on 9th May 1857. But the response of other Indian soldiers in Meerut was quite extraordinary. On 10th May, these soldiers marched to the jail in Meerut, released the imprisoned Sipahis. Those who were put into jail, those Sipahis were taken back. They attacked and killed British officers, captured the guns, whatever guns were there, ammunitions were there, set the fire to the building on fire, and the properties of the British were put on the fire and declared that war on the Firangis or on the Britishers. And the soldiers were determined to bring the rule of the Britishers in India down. They said, now we will do and bring the Britishers down. Their rule should not be there. But the question was, who will rule? If they bring down the British rule, who will rule? The question was there in front of them. But the soldiers had the answer to this question. That's Bahadur Shah Zafar, who was the last Mughal king ruler at that time. They said he will be the ruler. So they decided why not to move to Delhi and request Bahadur Shah Zafar to be their ruler. To convince him, because he was 80 years old, he was a very old man at that time. But they said, well, you should move to Delhi. Request Bahadur Shah Zafar to be their ruler or to be their leader. So these Sipahis from Meerut marched towards the Delhi. On 10th May in the night they reached Delhi. In the early hours of the next morning, early morning 4 or 5 o'clock they reached Delhi. As the news spread that the soldiers have marched and came to Delhi, so the regiments in Delhi also raised a rebellion. They said, oh, the army has come, Indian army men have come to Delhi. So the army men who were in Delhi, stationed in Delhi, they also revolted. They also joined them. They said, okay, we are with you now. Again, British officers were killed. Arms and ammunition were taken back. Buildings were put on fire. They are in Delhi also. And all these soldiers gathered. They were happy soldiers. They have triumphed. They have destroyed the British property. So they were happy and they all were around the walls of the Red Fort to meet Bahadur Shah Zafar. So all they came back enthusiastic with singing and dancing. Came to Red Fort, surrounded the Red Fort from all sides, and asked Bahadur Shah Zafar to meet them. But the Bahadur Shah Zafar was not willing because he was an old man. He said, no, I cannot do that. To challenge the mighty British rule. He was reluctant. He said, no, I cannot do that because I am an old man. I cannot fight for you with this mighty British army. But the soldier said, no, you have to be our ruler. You do not want to listen to anything. You have to agree to be the ruler, to be the leader of ours. And they went into the palace, broke the door and went into the palace and said that Bahadur Shah Zafar is our leader. You want it or not want it, but we are declaring you as our leader. But the old emperor then accepted that, okay, if you are seeing that I am ready to do that. And because he was the ruler, effectively he was the ruler of India, he wrote the letter to the different Nawabs and kings of India to join this revolt and organize a confederacy of Indian states to fight the British. So join together, make organization of British confederacy and fight with the Britishers. And because the step taken by Bahadur Shah Zafar has been implication because he was effectively he was the king. Because Mughal dynasty had the power, because they were ruling over India at that time for most of the times. So they have a say in the government. They say whatever they will ask the Nawabs and kings, they will agree. So Bahadur Shah Zafar wrote them the letter that you should join the revolt. Next, after this, next period, inshallah.
Okay.